Start my speech without a sincere thank you to Senator Doug Henry. He's been a true leader not only in Nashville but in the state of Tennessee. And you know, when we start talking about how great our state is and how low our debt is, you know why? It's because of that man. And just a quick example is we are one of the only few states left that our roads are, we're called a pay-as-you-go state, which means that we don't have any bonds on our roads. And one of those things was Senator Henry holding the line probably 30 years ago on that. And it means that Tennessee is generally ranked, this is just a small example of the things that he has done, is ranked in the top roads in the country for states across the country. So Senator Henry, thank you so much for what you have done. Anyway, about hospitality. Hospitality. Nashville is hot, but not only is Nashville hot, but Tennessee is hot. I was at the Governor's Conference this week. I serve on the Governor's Blue Ribbon Committee for Tourism. The stats are officially out. We are the second largest industry in the state of Tennessee. Hospitality is. And if you didn't know this, the tourism and hospitality industry is a $16.16 billion direct impact in the state of Tennessee. And that's with a B, not an M. That's $16 billion. You know this, that we are a state that does not have an income tax. And when you don't have an income tax, having that strong sales tax base is critical for our community and our state. That is actually over a 5% increase over the previous year. Anybody in business in here, and I see lots of leaders in here, that is a very large increase. The next piece of that, which is really interesting, is with that $16 billion impact, it's actually the hospitality industry collects over $1 billion in state and local taxes. What does that mean? Well, it means that it keeps these roads paved. It means that it keeps the trees planted in this nice park here. It means that the traffic signals operate correctly across the state of Tennessee. So, with that said, who knows what the largest industry is in the state of Tennessee? Well, see, that's normally what you would think, but it's actually agriculture. That's correct, and it's still that. Now, it's getting to be, it's starting to reverse that trend because tobacco and that sort of thing. That's right. The next thing about the hospitality industry that you may have not known is that if you add restaurants, hotels, tourist attractions, golf courses, those types of things, we employ over 10% of the workforce in the state of Tennessee and in Nashville. And that's a big deal. The one industry that really thrived even during the downturn was the hospitality industry, making us the industry of choice. And I know that you all probably have your industries out there. But what's going on in the state of Tennessee that's really exciting? I represent the Tennessee Hospitality Association and also the Greater Nashville Hospitality Association. We are a 501c6. We're like a chamber. We lobby on behalf of those particular industries on several issues. If you think about it, our particular industry in the legislature, we probably have a third of the bills that affect our industry. Whether it's a liquor bill or a beer bill or a bill that changes the way that affects employees or building standards. Our industry is one that is affected a lot. So what's going on in Tennessee and what's really exciting? Well, the first is the Governor's Blue Ribbon Committee. When the governor got elected, what was really exciting, he created this committee. It's led by Colin Reed. You all know Mr. Reed. And also a couple of other co-chairs, including Ted Miller with Dollywood in East Tennessee, and also Elvis Presley Enterprises in West Tennessee. The state, it was almost surreal that the state of Tennessee did direct marketing of only about $3.5 million. And to put it in perspective, the town of Pigeon Forge spends over $9 million annually on direct tourist marketing. So the state of Tennessee did not have the ability to advertise in markets like Atlanta in bigger markets. So once the committee was formed, we presented facts to the governor, which you can see on the TennesseeTourismCommittee.com. You can see those studies that we did. This year, and thank you, Senator, and we should see, I'm always thanking Senator Henry because he's the chair of the Finance Committee. So the governor appropriated $8 million for additional in state marketing for tourism. That's a big deal. So, Senator, thank you so much for that. And what will that do to you? What will that do to Nashville? Well, let me tell you what that will do to Nashville. It will increase, generally for every dollar spent, there's a $19 return. And that's a conservative estimate, especially if you think about the economic multipliers that go on. When you think about an employee that's then turns around and buys a car, or that employee then turns around, or the company then turns around and buys a copier. You know what I'm saying? It's a great thing. So we have a lot of exciting things going on in the state of Tennessee, but let me get to Nashville, and I know that's what you all are interested in. Nashville. You all have seen it. We're the It City. Condé Nast said that we're one of the top 5 cities to visit in the world, not just the nation, not just in Tennessee. The show Nashville. There's also, I was talking to some gentlemen out in the crowd, that there's probably 5 other shows that are going to talk about Nashville, reality TV. Hopefully they're good. But the show Nashville, I don't know if you knew this, but it's syndicated right now in 67 countries. That you can't buy that kind of marketing for this city or for the state. When we did the research on the committee, the tourism committee, we found out that Tennessee has the 3rd strongest brand in the country, only behind, guess what? Guess the 2 other states, Florida and California. We have strong brands here. If you think about it, we have Music City, Nashville. We have blues in Memphis. We have the Smoky Mountains. We have Jack Daniels. I can't go to Europe without saying, oh, you're from the United States. Do you drink Jack Daniels? So we have really, really strong brand here, and it's a very exciting time for us. So we are the It City, and I'll tell you what. I looked at the Star Data Report, which I don't know. There are some hoteliers in here, and I know you guys probably know it's Star Data Report, but our growth, we're in the top 12 cities in the country, and as a matter of fact, just this last month, we've moved into the top 5 growth as far as occupancy. And let me just tell you what those are. Occupancy is up 4.4% since just last year. ADR, which is what we call the average daily rate at a hotel, is up 6.5%. RevPAR, which is the really important number for hotels, which is revenue per available room, is up double digits in 12.2%. We have almost 3,000 more rooms coming on the market when the Omni opens, and I know that Dan came by and spoke, the GM at the Omni, to you all a few weeks back, but that is explosive growth. As a matter of fact, during the downturn, we were the only city that was adding hotel inventory to itself. And I'll tell you this, I was a Metro councilman, please don't hold that against me. But 6 years ago, I was actually the sponsor of the bill for the planning of the convention center. I'm very proud of that particular legislation. A lot of people wore me out about it, but I truly think that was the right thing to do. And I think the evidence is really now showing through. And I want to thank the leadership. If you look out this window, you can see lots of construction. I can hear beeping going on right now. There's construction going on at the Music City Center. There's construction going on at the Hilton right here that's being updated. That kind of construction just doesn't happen overnight. It's strong leadership. You can see across the street the Shelby Bridge. It was built by leaders that had a strong vision, and that just doesn't happen overnight. We should feel very lucky about our leadership and about all of you in this room who have helped make this city happen and this city growth. For those of you who just arrived 4 days ago from Nashville, we used to be a sleepy little town, but now we are a thriving metropolis. And the hospitality industry is part of that thriving. If you think about it, every visitor that visits downtown, and we are strong proponents of this. If you buy a hot dog downtown, guess where that tax money goes to? And I don't know if you've ever thought about it. But about 6% goes back to the state of Tennessee. But guess what? The other what we call local option sales tax, which is over 2%, it goes to the city. So instead of it going, buying that hot dog, and instead of it just going nowhere, what ends up happening is it goes back to the city, and the city has like CMA Festival. And guess what? Out of the last 11 of 12 months, we've had record occupancy tax collections, the highest ever in the city. Think about it. Out of the past 11 out of 12. That is unheard of. And every hotel and development company is looking to move to this city right now. We also even have strong regionalism. We have a very strong market in Williamson County. Williamson County and Franklin was ranked the #1 small town in the country. So not only Nashville, but Middle Tennessee and our region are growing very, very steadily. The great thing, too, about the hotel collections in Nashville is they're up 8.6%, which is huge. And guess what? Guess what month was the strongest month in Nashville for hotel collections? Y'all guess. June. Yeah, CMA Fest, right? Everybody knows that. That's good. But it was up tremendous. And those collections are really great for our city. We are just doing amazing things. The leadership, our mayor, are doing amazing things. And I'll end on this. I'm a government relations guru. I love to talk politics. I love to talk government relations. And the one thing that I always ask, especially civic groups, even our own members, is that you be involved. And I know everybody here is probably very involved, but I have a little test to test how involved you are as a civic group. So let's try it out. First is, do you know who your U.S. Senator is? Everybody raise your hand, okay? Do you know who your U.S. Senator is? Okay. All right. That's easy. That's easy. U.S. Senator. Okay. Do you know who your U.S. Congressman is? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's kind of a pyramid. You go down. Then do you know who your U.S. State Senator is? Like Mr. Henry. Who knows who their state senator is? All right. Now, who knows who their state House of Representatives member is? Who knows that? George, are you sure? Who's your House member? Beth Harwell. Good job.
I was the last person she dated before she met Sam.
Whoa! Oh, here's a clap. All right, there we go. Ooh. That will get back to Beth. Good. That's great work. All right. So the next question is, and all politics is local. So the next question is, do you know who your county commissioner is or your county mayor? Do you know who your county mayor is? We all know who our mayor is. But then it goes down, even though we're a metropolitan form of government, if you're in Nashville, do you know who your city councilman is? Well, good. I used to be Pam's city councilman. Thank you, Pam. It's my re-election campaign. I've retired, so already retired. But it's a really good test to think about that. And then you take it one step further. Do they know who you are by first name? And if they don't know who you are, then you're not being active enough. So it's a little fun test to see if you are actively engaged in politics and civics in your area. And it's a lot of fun. But I'm glad to be here. All I can say is that we have a lot going on, not only in Nashville, but in the state of Tennessee. We have a lot going on at the state legislature, and we have a lot going on at the federal government. So on behalf of my board of directors, I want to thank you for supporting hospitality. Please eat out more and stay in a hotel. We love that. And support our hospitality businesses. So that's my spiel. I will be glad to take questions. Yes, sir.
Tell us about the unbelievable revelation from the river to Vanderbilt. I think there are 13 hotels either up or going up. Is that correct?
Yes, there's several hotels going up. You've probably seen a lot of them. There's also a lot of property around here. The next hotel to open up is the Hyatt Place, which you can see from right here. It's about, I think it's almost 200 room hotel. You know, like I said, every developer in the country, and I've been on many national conferences, we are the hottest, but other than New York City, Nashville is probably the most talked about city to open a hotel in. Now, the thing that's a little worrisome, though, is that it's so hot, and there's about 3,000 rooms that are about ready to go into inventory. Some of the hoteliers and development groups are taking a wait-and-see approach to see if, once that inventory gets built, once it goes online, to see how well it does. We have some strong markets, like I said here. And this is one thing that I didn't mention and I want to. If you really think about Nashville, and this is what I tell development groups that call me. I have a developer that calls me at least once or twice a week about Nashville. If you really think about why Nashville is strong for the hotel and hospitality business, is because, number one, these are logical things. We're the state capital. There's a lot of state employees that work here. We have we're one of a big place for federal government employees. There's a lot of federal government employees that work here in federal agencies, which makes sense that a lot of people come in and travel and see those agencies. We're a healthcare mecca in the South. Not only that, but a lot of headquarters are here, and many of you probably have businesses that have relocated here. If you think about it, we've had major relocations of major headquarters here. So you have a really strong, during the week, you have a really strong business occupancy. In other words, you know, lots of business folks come during the week. And then you flip that to the weekend. We have a very strong transient demand for people that want to come down here and they want to see Taylor Swift perform in the conference, and it's really exciting. I mean, it's big. So you have the business traveler, you have that transient traveler on the weekends, and then another thing that's really strong here, the third kind of perfect storm recipe is what we call group. We have a very strong convention center and group business, and with the new convention center, it's a perfect recipe. And then you also add that think about all the interstates that converge on Nashville. So we have a lot of strong demand of just people stopping here because of the interstate. It's not only just downtown Nashville, but in the markets right around us. So if you take that recipe to a hotelier, that is a perfect storm to build a hotel here. And it makes sense because you want to keep the doors open and you want to keep them full. So Nashville is really, really a good place to build a hotel for those very reasons.
Talk about the AMP coming down, the impact of that and the necessity of that.
Yeah, I would love to. There's many people that are on both sides of the AMP. And if we were to take a poll in here, many of you may not be for it. Many of you may be. Nashville, as you know, has some of the worst traffic congestion in the country. And it's only going to get worse. Based on statistics of growth, I also serve on the Metro Planning Commission. If you look at our 30-year growth, it's astronomical. And especially down the West End corridor. Now, the GNHA, which is the Greater Nashville Hospitality Association Board, voted to support the AMP, and this is why. The West End corridor for tourism, number one, is critical. And having just a regular bus service going to West End would mean that bus would get stopped in traffic just like every other car. It gives no incentive for a rider to ride on that particular bus. If you have a dedicated lane, it gives incentive for folks to actually ride transit. And Nashville is not traditionally a transit town. But you have a lot of folks, as you know, that have moved here from other cities like New York City, California, several other places that have lots of transit. The younger, more, I guess I want to say East Nashville crowd, that type of Generation Y and Generation X type person, they're transit riders. And so the mayor and the leadership and our folks thought also how many employers, including Vanderbilt, Baptist, all your major hospitals are along that corridor. So it's the first step, I think, in the right direction of having a really strong city. Now, there are many arguments on the other side, but I think that if we don't do something now, we are going to really regret it down the road, especially 10, 20 years down the road. So in our eyes, it's a progressive, it's an aggressive project. It's going to cost some money, no doubt. But I think that if you look at other cities like Denver, Colorado, which I was just out there a few months back, I rode on the BRT, the Bus Rapid Transit Project. The bus was full every single time, and it took people to restaurants, it took people to the hotels, it took people to downtown, and it worked. So I think that my perspective is that it's a very exciting project, and it's something that Nashville needs, but it's progressive.
Greg, I got a question on the issue, revenue issue that I'm afraid is going to go on the radar screen next year. It's my understanding we got a referendum coming up to ban a state income tax constitution. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Now, I'm worried about that being very short-sighted for a couple of reasons. The main reason is that we fund this government basically on sales tax or consumption tax. Anytime you have a significant recession, that revenue is going to fall. And income tax is not subject to as much function of the economy going down as a sales tax. Not only that, there's not really a chance in hell Democrats or Republicans in the state legislature are going to pass an income tax. I can't see why that you would pass a constitutional amendment which would take years to repeal in case an emergency came up. I can't see killing an option. I'm not saying I'm for an income tax, but I can't see why we're killing our option to have it in light of a potential recession. And I'd like to hear maybe you and certainly welcome Senator Henry's comment on it.
Of course, you got a phone call.
I gotta go. See you later. Senator Henry.
Get Senator in the microphone. What you said is the reason I voted against it.
Great.
He did. I would say that Senator Henry has been a leader on this particular issue. I would argue that Senator Henry, I mean, I don't want to speak for the senator, but he has always opposed, well, he has told me this personally. Now, Senator, you have said to me, I don't believe in taxing a person's income. I think it's wrong, and I think it's regressive. But I don't believe that we should pass a constitutional amendment just in case of an emergency. As you know, most states do have an income tax for that very reason. And that's one reason why tourism is so important in the state of Tennessee, is because without tourism and people coming to our town, we can't afford the services that we have. And so I think you're right. It's unfortunate that they're passing a constitutional amendment. It takes 3 years to do that. Is it 3 years, Senator? I think it's 6 to undo it. Or maybe a constitutional convention, right, Senator? Either or. And the last time we had a constitutional convention was when, Senator? Yeah.
But isn't it true, Senator, there's no further legislative action has to be done. It is ready for a vote by the people now. Is that correct? So there's not anything we can do to get rid of it legislative. And I'm afraid it's going to go on the radar screen, and most Tennesseans are not going to realize.
Forest line 2.
How they shoot themselves in the foot. That's all I'm concerned about.
Yes, sir.
Pam, you had a question?
Yeah, just tear it right up. Well, Hall's income tax, maybe.
My question is, I feel like we need more tourist attractions in Nashville through the Blue Ribbon Commission or whatever. Do you know of other tourist venues that are coming on for Nashville, be it museums or interesting tours that tourists can take that's not this hockey hall and that kind of thing? You know, anything that's coming that you can reveal?
Well, one thing that we did talk about was in the tourism committee is inventory of what is out there for a tourist to do. If you think about Nashville, it's almost a little bit limited. We don't have as many attractions as probably we want to. You know, we have the Nashville Zoo and some other great attractions, but we probably need more. Once Opryland theme park closed down, it kind of left that void. Now, Nashville Shores has done some things to improve, you know, their facility, but obviously, when you have Dollywood and Gaylord looking at wanting to build some type of additional attraction, there's a number out there that makes sense for that to happen. And it's only a matter of time as we get more visitors and more visitors that something will come about. I think that when we took an inventory, you know, there were some limited things that you could do, especially as a family in this town. You know, you have sounds, you have, you know, Frisk Center, you have a lot of attractions here, but Nashville could have more. Absolutely.
I have just one quick question, and I know this may be a little bit unfair, but I know in the hospitality industry you measure certain metrics like room nights, number of rooms, and I'm just curious, what's the potential of Nashville downtown in terms of number of rooms and room nights with all this growth?
Yeah, you know, there's about, like I said, 3,000. I can't remember the specific number of how many rooms we have. I should have pulled that up. I didn't bring that data with me. But we have a tremendous ability to grow this market, especially once the convention center really gets trucking. And I'll tell you all this. In 2014, when the Omni gets fully up and running and the convention center, and Butch Spearden, the director, the CEO, the president and CEO of the Nashville CVB, and I have talked several times, we're going to face problems with our taxi system, with our airport, with our infrastructure, because we're going to be handling so many visitors. So starting in 2014, or when we have a lot of big bookings at the convention center, you're going to see a lot more traffic at the airport. You're going to see a lot more traffic downtown. You're going to see a lot more traffic from our cabs. It's going to be some growing pains. And I think to answer your question is we have a lot of room to grow. I think once our hoteliers see that 3,000 inventory, and if we can keep our occupancy up, I mean, right now it's almost above 70%. Nashville hasn't seen that kind of occupancy level in a long time. So if we can keep that momentum up and keep people coming back here, then that will increase. And you know, like I said, it's because of the strong leadership. It's because we have the Titans. It's because we have NHL hockey. It's because we've invested in our infrastructure. It's because we have a new convention center. And so those things really do matter. You know, if you're not growing, you're going backwards. And so I think keeping the momentum up in Nashville and keeping it growing, and also I think too, not just to look at Nashville, but to look regionally, to make sure that our region is growing and our surrounding counties. So that's an important factor. But I think we have probably double the amount of space to grow. And I think after a year, if the economy keeps chugging along and we keep our occupancy rates at that level, anything over 60%, hoteliers do one thing good, and it's saturate the market. So you'll see a lot more hotel rooms being built. The problem with this market, and I'll be brutally honest, and you've probably seen Butch in the newspaper, is we need another full-service hotel. I mean, Omni is, I can't speak for them, but Omni is sorry they didn't build 1,000 rooms. I mean, you know, the problem too is full service versus select service, which is a smaller property. Right now, a lot of finance institutions are requiring 30 to 40% down, especially on a large full-service hotel of about 400 or 500 rooms. So you've probably heard there's 3 hotels, full-service hotels that are in the pipeline, but whoever gets to the financing first is going to win, and they're going to build that. So if there's any bankers in here, you might want to reach out.
2 more make them good.
Right here, Tom.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. Really a positive comment to the hospitality industry in Tennessee. 20 years ago, I was with a group of clients in Chicago. We'd gone to Walter Payton's Bar. We left the bar, made a wrong turn. There's some streets in Chicago you don't want to be on at night. And a lot of times, two big burly Chicago police, we stop and ask, how do we get back? And they say, we'll go this direction, we'll walk. One of these big burly cops says, you guys aren't from here, you don't sound like us. We said, no, we're from Nashville, Tennessee. All of a sudden, they both light up and they say, hey, we're going to Dollywood this year. Is that a pretty good deal down there? We said, yeah. They said, this is great. They talked to us the whole time about, should we go to Nashville? Why, sure, you ought to come to Nashville. So if you don't think we don't have that kind of impact, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, like I said, this study came through, and we are the third best branded state of people recognizing who we are as Tennesseans. And I tell you this, once we get, and our research also showed that once we get somebody here in Tennessee or in Nashville, they'll come back. And that's money in the pocket. So they love Tennessee. You're absolutely right.
That it? We all done? Anybody?
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.